3 Atlas. The name itself now carries a weight, a tremor of apprehension rippling through the scientific community. Right now, across observatories scattered from Chile's Atacama Desert to Hawaii's lofty Mauna Kea peaks, this single designation dominates every hushed, behind closed doors discussion. 3 Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever detected journeying into our solar system. When NASA first heralded its discovery earlier this year, the announcement carried an almost nonchalant tone. Just another fascinating cosmic oddity, a fleeting chance to examine an artifact forged between distant stars. Yet, what has unfolded since then has sent shockwaves through even the most stoic astrophysicists. Because 3 Atlas isn't merely unusual, it's defying every known law of celestial mechanics. It's not just peculiar, it's fundamentally impossible. And new data, quietly surfacing from NASA's own Deep Space Tracking Network, now hints that this object may not only shatter our understanding of the cosmos, but it might just pose an existential dilemma for all of humanity. The initial signs of discord emerged subtly when the Pan-STARRS array first pinpointed the faint, moving speck now identified as 3 Atlas. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Its preliminary trajectory suggested a classic parabolic trajectory, a swift sling through the inner solar system before vanishing forever back into the abyss of interstellar space. This was precisely how it began with Oumuamua in 2017, and then 2I divided by Borisov in 2019. Brief, transient guests that left us with more profound questions than satisfactory answers, but within mere weeks of its discovery, the anomalies began to manifest. First, radar mapping from the Deep Space Network unveiled a perplexing variable velocity signature, minute, yet undeniable microdecelerations inconsistent with all gravitational modeling. The object was slowing down gently, persistently, as if guided by some unseen force. When NASA's Goldstone Observatory independently corroborated these readings, the internal communiques quickly transitioned from cautious to overtly alarmed. Because no natural process could account for this behavior, solar radiation pressure propels comets outward. Outgassing jets invariably exert a push, never a pull, and gravitational drag at such vast distances is utterly negligible. Something was profoundly, unnaturally wrong. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory initiated an emergency recalibration in late August. By then, 3I divided by Atlas had already executed a trajectory correction maneuver of 0.28 kilometers per second, a small adjustment but undeniably deliberate. Pause and consider that for a moment. A celestial body the size of a small city, hurtling faster than 200,000 kilometers per hour, somehow consistently and intentionally decreasing its own velocity as though applying active thrust. Initially, scientists proposed the usual gamut of mundane explanations: instrument malfunction, thermal emission bias, micrometeoroid impacts. But these theories swiftly crumbled under meticulous scrutiny. Every independent array, from ESA's Gaia satellite to the venerable Hubble Space Telescope, recorded the identical data. 3 Atlas was decelerating, and not randomly. Its slowing occurred in discrete pulses, precisely synchronized with its rotational period. It was as if the object was performing carefully orchestrated maneuvers. Even the tone of NASA's internal briefings began to shift. A report, starkly marked Level 3 confidential, began circulating quietly among senior astrophysicists. One phrase was emblazoned in bold typeface: observed motion inconsistent with known natural processes. That was the pivotal moment. That was when 3 Atlas ceased to be a mere scientific curiosity and transformed into something far more ominous. A hollow heart. Spectroscopic analysis soon plunged the mystery into even greater depths. Data streamed from the James Webb Space Telescope, revealing density measurements so astonishingly low they bordered on the absurd equivalent to less than 1/10 that of water. If 3 Atlas were truly a solid object, it should register a mass of tens of billions of tons. Yet, its gravitational influence on proximate bodies, including Mars, during its early October flyby, was effectively non-existent. It was as if this colossal visitor were utterly hollow. That singular word, hollow, sent genuine shock waves reverberating through the astrophysics community. A hollow comet is nonsensical. Natural celestial objects coalesce through accretion, layer upon layer of cosmic dust, and ice compacted over eons. They don't fashion themselves into shells. They don't miraculously maintain rotational stability without sufficient mass to counterbalance them. And yet, 3I divided by Atlas does precisely that. Its rotational period remains flawlessly consistent, stable to the 10th decimal place. No erratic tumbling, no perceptible drift, no signs of instability whatsoever. As Harvard's Avi Loeb articulated in his latest unsettling analysis, either 3 Atlas is composed of a material unknown to modern chemistry, or it was deliberately engineered for structural balance. Those two words, deliberately engineered, chillingly reignited one of the oldest, most profound fears in modern scientific inquiry: the data blackout. On October 3rd, 3 Atlas executed a pass within 29 million kilometers of Mars. This marked the closest recorded approach between an interstellar object and another planet in the annals of human history. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, the ESA's Mars Express, and China's Tianwen-1 all enjoyed perfect observational alignment. Then, abruptly, the data stream ceased. A government shutdown in Washington conveniently froze public communication pipelines precisely 48 hours before the encounter. No raw telemetry, no spectral readings, no high-resolution imagery. ESA attributed the silence to data processing delays. China offered no comment whatsoever. Weeks elapsed. Silence. Privately, scientists began to whisper what official channels steadfastly refused to articulate aloud. The data exists. The instruments function. The silence was not technical. It was deliberate. We have witnessed this pattern before with Oumuamua, with Borisov, and now with 3 Atlas. Each time an interstellar visitor defies our preconceived notions, the data pipeline constricts. Transparency evaporates. The truth dissolves into a bureaucratic haze. But this time, something feels distinctly different because 3 Atlas hasn't departed. The object that stayed. Every predictive model had indicated that by mid-October, the object would be well into its outbound trajectory, accelerating as solar radiation pressure propelled it back towards the stars. Instead, it did the unthinkable. It slowed down again. The new trajectory, meticulously plotted by the Gemini North Observatory, now depicts a gradual drift inward towards a stable orbital capture between Mars and Jupiter. In essence, 3 Atlas might be staying. If confirmed, this would represent the first interstellar object in recorded history to become gravitationally bound to our solar system. And yet, no agency has issued a formal statement. When directly questioned, NASA officials responded only with meticulously scripted language. We continue to monitor the object and refine our models. But deep within NASA's internal forums, a distinctly different narrative is now beginning to materialize. One that points towards the utterly unthinkable: patterns across the stars. Avi Loeb's team at the Galileo Project meticulously compared 3 Atlas's anomalous motion to previous irregularities recorded in the trajectories of Oumuamua and Borisov. The results sent genuine chills through the scientific community. Each object entered our solar system from a nearly identical ecliptic inclination, confined within a narrow band of plus or minus 5 degrees. An alignment statistically expected less than 2% of the time by random chance. 3 visitors, 3 alignments, 3 distinct anomalies in both motion and composition. Random cosmic debris does not behave this way, but coordinated exploration absolutely does. Imagine for a fleeting moment that these are not independent fragments of interstellar rock, but rather components of a sophisticated network, a relay system, a deliberate sequence, each one testing, observing, mapping, each successive visitor edging closer to our planetary home. If this sounds like the realm of science fiction, remember, science fiction has often served as the dress rehearsal for eventual scientific reality. The spectral enigma. When NASA's Swift Observatory conducted ultraviolet analysis of 3 Atlas, it detected something that further intensified the burgeoning crisis, a non-random emission line at 497 nanometers. While not entirely unusual for cometary spectra, the critical detail was this. This line flickered at precise clockwork intervals every 22 minutes. Spectral pulsing is not a natural phenomenon. It overtly suggests modulation, the deliberate variation of signal intensity across time. When this astounding discovery quietly leaked to the broader astrophysics community, the message threads erupted. Was it a mere coincidence? Instrumental interference? NASA's official commentary was predictably conservative. We are investigating possible calibration errors. But the timing was simply too precise, too consistent. Minutes, again and again. If this pattern holds, it implies something almost too vast to fully contemplate, an active process, perhaps even communication. For now, no one dares to articulate it directly, but the data, in its silent eloquence, speaks for itself. Astronomers worldwide are also reporting a peculiar optical phenomenon enveloping 3 Atlas, a diffuse green halo, strikingly distinct from any conventional cometary coma. Normally, this hue originates from dicarbon molecules fluorescing under solar ultraviolet radiation. But spectroscopy from Chile's Very Large Telescope definitively shows that 3 Atlas is severely depleted in carbon chains. In other words, the verdant glow isn't chemical. So, what exactly is it? Some researchers propose ionized plasma. Others suggest a form of electromagnetic containment, a sophisticated field interaction maintaining the object's structural coherence. Because if the object genuinely is hollow, it should have collapsed catastrophically under its own rotational stresses months ago. Yet, it hasn't. This enigmatic green envelope may not be emitted light. It may be light refracted, subtly distorted by an invisible containment structure surrounding the object. An engineered magnetosphere. If true, that would represent the first incontrovertible evidence of artificial shielding technology ever observed beyond Earth. In just 12 days, 3I divided by Atlas will reach its perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, approximately 1.36 astronomical units, just inside the orbit of Mars. From Earth's perspective, this translates into total visual obstruction. We will utterly lose sight of it behind the blinding glare of our star for nearly 3 weeks. And that precisely is when orbital projections suggest the object will experience its maximum velocity. The perfect moment to execute what aerospace engineers refer to as an Oberth maneuver, utilizing the Sun's gravity well to dramatically amplify or reverse velocity with minimal energy expenditure. If 3 Atlas activates engines or whatever mechanism it employs to alter its motion while obscured behind the Sun, we simply won't see it. We will only notice afterwards when it reemerges, potentially on a radically new trajectory. NASA's engineers privately concede that if 3 Atlas significantly alters its trajectory during perihelion, it will confirm one inescapable conclusion. Active propulsion is occurring. But propulsion inherently implies intention. And intention, disturbingly, implies intelligence. Behind closed doors, mission analysts are now painstakingly preparing for outcomes that were considered utterly unthinkable even a mere month ago. A classified briefing has reportedly circulated through NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, meticulously outlining hypothetical engagement scenarios, protocols normally reserved for imminent near-Earth asteroid threats. Yet, 3 Atlas poses no known impact risk. So, why this unprecedented emergency posture? Because if it remains in orbit, if it stabilizes itself between Mars and Jupiter, as the latest chilling simulations suggest, humanity will confront something truly unprecedented. An interstellar object permanently stationed within our solar system, potentially active, potentially aware. Financial markets, acutely sensitive to even the faintest whispers of extraterrestrial implications, are already exhibiting marked volatility. The Dow Jones Index plummeted 3% within hours of an unverified leak, claiming NASA had detected controlled deceleration. The official denial was swift, almost instantaneous. But the profound silence that followed spoke volumes.